What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Get Rich or Die Mowing, and I'm sitting on my lawnmower in my garage in the dead of January. Why? Because I'm thinking about the upcoming season. I'm thinking about maintenance on my machinery. I'm thinking about new customers. I'm thinking about making some money as soon as springtime hits. If you're interested in starting a lawn care business and you want to cut through the BS, you need to watch this video because I'm going to go over things that I've learned over the 12 years that I've been a lawn care business owner and teach them to you in a record amount of time. If you want to learn, if you want to grow, if you want to get profitable, stick around and watch. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is actually reach down here and grab my notes because I am not a YouTuber. I'm a lawn care business owner. I was actually talking to my wife earlier and I told her what I was going to go over in this video. And she said, "Wow, I wish you would have had that video to watch when you were new and starting out." And I thought, yeah, I mean, I had to learn it all the hard way. I didn't watch any videos and I made a ton of mistakes. So this is going to get you guys going on the right track in a record amount of time. The first thing that I want to go over is to let you know that this is a hard job. If anybody tells you it's not, that it's quick money, it's easy money, they're lying to you. This is a rough job. If you are looking for an easy way to make a buck, maybe you could start an OnlyFans. I'm way too ugly personally, so I mow yards. If you're watching this, you're probably in the same boat. But I just wanted to put that out there. It's hard. The first thing you're going to want to ask yourself is, why do I want to become a lawn care business owner? Obviously it's money, but there has to be something more. There has to be a motivating factor behind that because there's all kinds of jobs that have insurance, sick pay, vacation pay, retirement. This doesn't have any of that. There's electricians, plumbers, heating and cooling, welders. They're all hiring now. It's a great time to be in any of those trades. And if I'm being straight with you, if that's an option for you, I recommend it. But if you're still interested, then I'll carry on. So, what motivates you? For me, I'm just going to give you a backstory on myself. As I said, I've been in lawn care for about a dozen years. I worked in printing for years and years. Hated it. Worked in these windowless prison hellholes for bosses that didn't even know my name, to be honest. Just living check to check, just wasting away the majority of my 20s. Finally, I got stuck on night shift. My supervisor was this kid who was about 10 years my junior, who was friends with the owner. He would practice karate kicks on the night shift, and his final kick got to about right here in my face, just about kicked me in the face, looked me in the eyes, and told me to try it. He was about 5'5". I mean, I just couldn't. I said, no, this is the end. I've got to go my own route. I started to think, what can I do? What do I enjoy doing? I like to work hard. I like to be outside. I like to mow lawns. So I thought if I had 10 regular customers at $40 a pop, that's 400 bucks a week. I'm not going to get rich, but it's enough to get by for now. I quit the following day with 600 bucks to my name. Bought a $200 mower, $200 weed eater, $200 blower, called my mom up and I borrowed a truck that barely even ran. It was a 1989 Ford Ranger. It blew up a month later. But anyway, that's the backstory. That was my motivating factor. So when it's hot outside, when the customers are being a pain, when I don't want to get up and work and I would just rather call in or take off or sleep till noon, that's what motivates me. It's hate. It's hate of the person I was when I was in my 20s, a loser. Now I work for myself. If I'm broke, I blame myself. There's nobody else. It's just me. Whenever I want to make more, I just work harder. It's that simple. It's an honest way to make a living. If that appeals to you, listen on. So there's a few more questions that you have to ask yourself first mentally prior to doing anything physical or spending a single nickel. The first thing is, are you the kind of person that works good on your own? Are you going to hold yourself accountable to get up early and bust ass and go out there? You're going to have to be an expert laborer, salesman, marketer, time management person. You're going to have to do taxes. You're going to have to do payments. There's a lot. It's pretty involved. Are you that kind of person? You need to be honest about it. If you're not, then maybe it's best you work for somebody else. There's no one to blame except yourself. Next, can you handle the physical demands of this job? I'm not exactly a fitness model, sure, but it's wintertime. I drink beer, I eat food, I chill out. I make money spring, summer, fall, so winter we eat, drink, and get fat. During the season, though, I walk about 12 to 16 miles a day is my average. On some days, if we have a landscape job, if we're laying sod or something, it could be up to 20 or so miles. I live in Texas. It gets to be around 100 here for the high. It's not that easy. You need to be honest. If you got a bad knee, a bad back, if you're allergic to the sun, if you're allergic to hard work, if you need a sip of water every 10 minutes, it's not for you. It's really that simple. If you're allergic to ants, allergic to wasps, it's going to be rough. It just is. You're probably better off working for somebody else in a warehouse or going to school and learning, something else. All right, so you answered yes to all of those questions. You love to work hard, you love the heat, you're in amazing shape, you're a great marketer and salesman, laborer. So you're ready to go buy stuff, right? No, no. Before you spend a single penny, you need to hop on Google and search up what you need to run a lawn care business in your state. Every state is different. I live in Texas. It's very lenient here. It's the Wild West. You can basically run out, buy you a mower and a truck, and say that you're a lawn care business. But if you want to do it the correct way, the legal way, I recommend that you go in there and do at least a few hours of digging around and searching. You're going to need a business license. You're going to need a DBA if you want to cash checks from customers and work on getting a business line of credit, which is extremely helpful later on. You're going to want to figure out how you file taxes. Are you going to have a software company do it for you? Are you going to have a physical accountant? Or are you going to try to do it on your own? I would recommend that you save all of your receipts. And honestly, if you do it the legal way of filing taxes, you'll be better off in the end. But I'll talk about that later. You're going to want to figure out if you're going to be spraying for pests. Are you going to be spraying for weeds? You might need a license in a lot of states, and most of them actually. Um, there's a lot of rules and regulations that you're going to want to be pretty much an expert on. The fines are stiff in a lot of states, and um, just want to make sure that you're on top of that. So tackle that first. All right, next, equipment, the fun stuff, spending a little money. I will go ahead and preface this by saying that I am not going to tell you that you need to buy lawnmower A, weed eater B, blower C. Every situation is different. What you might need if you're starting out in New York State is going to vary greatly from what you might need in Florida. So this is not that kind of video. This is a broad video to help you all get going, to give you some broad spectrum tips to make money. Um, One thing that I will caution you against is being the cheapskate guy. For instance, you will see a $50 mower on the marketplace. It's going to seem like an amazing deal. You could save some money on that, spend it on something else that you've had your eye on. I'll tell you why that's a bad idea. You're going to buy that $50 mower and you're going to think that you're set. You're going to head out to your first yard, ready to mow. You're going to crank it up and that mower is going to start smoking. This customer is watching you out the window. He thought that he was hiring a pro. A pro would not show up to his house with a broken ass mower. His neighbor across the road, who needs mowing also, is watching, and she sees you on fire in the yard of the customer. So you got to load it up in your truck, carry it to a shop. Shop's going to charge you $150 to fix it. You got time there, time back. You look like a jackass. This is all the while you should be doing labor, selling properties. You should be marketing to get more and more customers, not driving around to save $100. That's thinking like a laborer. You're a business owner now. You have to hold yourself to a different standard. Time is money. Your time is valuable. So it may seem like a great idea, a great investment. It's not. Now, having said that, I know that everyone's budget is different. As I said, I had $600, but I did the smart move and spent it on new stuff. I didn't actually have a zero turn mower for my first couple of months until I was able to pretty much buy it for cash. But speaking of cash, I would never recommend anybody go into debt except for when you're buying a zero turn mower. It's the best deal in the business. A lot of companies, I know Skag, I know Hustler, I know Toro does, they finance through Sheffield Financial. If you have the credit score and it's not super high, it's probably like the low 600s, you can get financed for 0% interest for 4 years. That pretty much allows you to buy a commercial grade mower for a great price. And then after the warranty runs out and you have to start actually paying for the labor on it, you just sell it. It's like a scam nearly. It's a wonderful deal. I recommend that you take advantage of it instead of going out and buying you a 10-year-old mower. All right. I guess the first big thing is going to be a truck. Hopefully you have one already or have access to one. I'm not going to go into recommendations on trucks, but I would say that I would not spend a great amount of money. If you're rolling around in daddy's money and he's willing to buy you a $70,000 dually diesel, take him up on it. Great. But for the majority of you, your truck is always going to be covered in dirt. It's going to get dings. It's going to get scratches. I would find a beater because it does not make a lot of sense to run out and buy you a brand new truck, finance it only for it to get beaten up. When it comes to a trailer, I started out without one. I just put stuff in the back of my truck and did the smaller yards until I was able to do the larger yards. That's the hard way. If you're looking to fast track and make real money, you are going to need a trailer. You are going to need a zero turn mower. Um, you can usually get a good deal on trailers on the marketplace. That is the complete opposite of what I said earlier. Trailers don't have a motor, they don't have a transmission, they have an axle, they have boards. You can use your eyeballs and tell. You can usually talk down people to a pretty good price. A few years ago, you could buy a brand new trailer at Tractor Supply for $1,000. It was a fantastic deal. Had a gate and all that. That same trailer is $2,000 now. So it's up to you. You can finance that too. I think they have interest free for a couple of years. There's all these locally owned places that have trailers that have different plans of financing. But a trailer is the one thing that I would say that you could buy used and it'll probably last you forever. So that's that. Um, when it comes to buying a zero turn mower, I'm not going to mention you should get brand A or B. I've said that already. I will tell you that I would recommend going for the model that's above what you think you will need. So if you're looking at a $4,000 residential mower, that's the route that I went starting out. I spent a lot of time at the shop. The belts, the transmissions, the blades, the spindles, they're just not cut out for what you're going to be doing. You're going to be in some absolute shit properties that haven't been mowed in a month, 2 months, that have a water hose buried, that have clumps of fire ants, that have extreme hills or mud or whatever. You really do need a commercial mower. It doesn't matter if it's Toro, John Deere, Skag, Wright. The one thing that I would recommend, and I know people are going to ask, what's the best brand of mower? The answer is very simple. Whichever one has a shop nearest to your house, your mower is going to break. That's guaranteed. In my area, Skag is the brand. And the reason is there's a really good shop around here. Skag is also a good brand. I recommend Skag highly. However, if you're next to a Toro shop or a John Deere shop or a Hustler shop or a Kubota, those are all fine options too. Just make sure that there is a shop near you so you have access to get it in there and get it out quick, because time is money. You don't want to be waiting around without a mower because that's going to cost you thousands of dollars. When it comes to a push mower, that's kind of going to be on you. It's going to vary greatly. I do a lot of very large properties. I'm in a position now where I can turn down the push mow yards because I'm old, I'm fat, I don't want to walk with a push mower. Every time I crank a push mower, I'm losing money. I can't charge what I need to charge for it to make sense. So I generally turn down most properties that are going to need me to spend a good amount of time with a push mower. That said, if you live in a town and that's got a lot of the same size yards with the little gate, in the back, and you're going to be doing a lot of those yards for 50 and 60 bucks, maybe it would make sense for you to go spend $2,000 on a commercial grade mower. Toro or Skag make them. For me, what I've always done is just buy the cheapo at Walmart or Home Depot, the widest one that they possibly sell with the largest motor. They used to be about 250 bucks. I think they're like 350 bucks now, but I just don't use them a lot, so I don't spend a lot of money on them. Keep them a couple of seasons, sell them, and buy a new one. Um, so that's my take on that. When it comes to weed eaters, we really got two options. You got Echo and Steel. I've tried them both. I'm not going to trash one or the other, but I will say that I use a Steel. I have several of them. My day-to-day is the FS70R. It's a little bit lighter weight, but you're going to be doing so much edging, so much edging. Your weed eater is kind of like a paintbrush when it comes to this line of work, and you're the artist. It's what separates a $50 yard from a $75 yard. It's the weed eating. It's the trimming, how you do the edging, how you do just make it all look smooth and beautiful. Really mowing, any idiot can get out there and mow a yard. It's something that kids can do in high school. It's something that you don't need training. It's not a job that is rocket science, okay? But your trimmer is going to be in your hands the majority of your day. You're going to spend more time with the weed eater than you are on the lawnmower. So you want to go to a store, pick one up that feels comfortable in your hands. I do recommend a straight shaft instead of curved, but that's going to be based on your height, and there's different weights, different heights. I've got a stepdad who he has like a 131 or something. It's this massive machine that weighs like 25 pounds. You can cut down trees with it and stuff. I don't find that I need that personally. If you do, if you're going to be cutting down a lot of trees with a weed eater, then maybe that's something that you need. I like the 70. They're about $350. They last forever. They just crank right up. It's lightweight. You can whip it around. That's what I recommend. When it comes to a blower, I started with a little handheld Echo that used to be $150. It is 12 years later, and I am still using the same blower. It's like my fourth one, but I'm still using the same one. It is fantastic. It's lightweight. It doesn't use a lot of fuel. It has great power. And if somebody steals it, which is a real thing, if they reach in the back of your truck and grab it, and you don't have like a boxed in trailer or something, that is something to think about. But I just don't have a need for a backpack blower. I don't do a lot of raking leaves or blowing leaves around. All I really need is to get clippings out of the way, get leaves out of the way, and that works fine for me. You're more than welcome to spend more money if you think you need something bigger and badder. But for me, why would you waste the money? So that's my opinion on that. All right, so your business is legal, you're licensed up, you spend a lot of money on machinery, but you don't have customers. You got to have customers, right? What do you do first? What I recommend doing is creating a website. There are lots of companies out there that offer building and hosting for about $20 a month. You don't have to be a hacker to build a website. It doesn't have to be a beautiful site. Really, anyone can use a template that's already there. Just copy and paste your name, your phone number, and stuff. It does help. You would be amazed. It really gets you into a higher tier of clientele, just having the website. It offers legitimacy that a lot of people are not going to have. Number two is you're going to want to be listed on Google. This used to be super easy. You could literally just say, this is my address, list me on Google. The longer you stay on Google, the higher uh, position your website has. It's not that easy anymore. Um, Google is kind of a nightmare to be actually listed high on now, and they have a new service where they do like a background check on certain people. Those people show up first, then all the rest are just kind of randomized in the bottom order. It's very. I, I used to crush on Google, not quite as much anymore, but you still have to be on Google. It is important. So try to get listed. Try to optimize your search words. Uh, you want to put in mowing, lawn care. There's all these little words that people can search for on Google. And then you want to have your address there because most people search lawn care companies near me. So the near me part is going to track where you are. And the closer you are to the person searching, it's good for you because you're not going to have to drive as far. And it's good for them because you're probably a reliable person who lives in their neighborhood. So Google is a big deal. You have to use it, even though they are kind of a pain in the ass at the moment. Next is you're going to want to go on Facebook, sign up for all your local groups, all the community pages, all the just any kind of groups that are free. And you want to create some kind of a coupon, say like a first time sign up is such and such off, something where people feel like you're offering a limited time offer and they're getting a good deal. Kind of do an introduction video. If they can see you, see that you're not a weirdo, that's great. And that also leads us into the last thing that I want to talk about, which is how you look, how you present yourself to customers. It makes a huge difference. And I'm going to go over that next. Actually, I just looked at my notes and I just want to add a few more things. you can choose to spend money on ads on Facebook or Google. I wouldn't do that because it's going to send your information out to people who are looking for tips on makeup videos or looking to adopt pets, all sorts of people. It's kind of a waste of your time and money. You just want to be searchable for people who are interested in looking for a lawn guy. That's it. So I wouldn't waste money or time on that. Also, you can go make some business cards. I would definitely have some business cards ready to go to hand out to your actual customers. It's up to you if you want to go into neighborhoods and stick them on doors. Just be aware that your ratio of actually landing a customer for going and knocking on doors or handing out a card or a flyer is probably one in every 150 doors. It's a very low ratio. And in this day and age, when you, on a good day, maybe you could canvas a neighborhood, hit 300 houses if you want to walk a ton. I mean, on a good day, your Google site, your website, and Google are going to get like thousands of views. So it's just kind of an outdated way of doing things, just going to neighborhoods and doing that. But if you don't have any customers and you're just sitting around on your ass, why not? I mean, it could only help. But I have done that in years past, never had a lot of results. All right, on to what I wanted to talk about, and that is your appearance. You get a call, it's your first call. You're ready to land this big deal and make a ton of money. It's a nice looking woman in a nice neighborhood with a nice house and a lawn that needs mowing. Don't show up and look like a slob. You don't have to be a model, but your clothes need to be clean. You need to have a neat appearance. And the number one thing is have manners. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Just act like you want to be there. You're going to be in this person's yard. They might have children there. It might be a housewife whose husband works a lot and she's hiring a stranger. You have about 15 seconds to sell yourself because you're not really selling mowing. You're selling you. They could call any number of people and get them to come out and mow the yard, probably cheaper, and it would look about the same as you doing it. But they're going to hire you. Why? Because they trust you. Because you look them in the eye and you say, I will be there every other Friday. It's this price. Your yard is going to look amazing. I'm not going to steal from you. And they trust you and they believe you. And by the way, don't actually tell them that you're not going to steal from them. That should just be kind of known. But they have to trust you. They have to like you. If you don't come off as likable and trustworthy and somebody that they feel all right with you being in, at their home, they're going to go with somebody else. If you are noticing that you're doing a lot of estimates but not landing a lot of jobs, it's probably the way you're communicating. It's probably quite poor. It's not your pricing. I lose so few customers over price. People are always obsessed about price. The people who will hire you and fire you on $5 or $10 are not the kind of customers that you want. You want the higher end customers. I have never, and I flat out tell them when I go do an estimate, I flat out tell them, I'm not going to get in a bidding war with somebody else. I'm going to give you my price. If that sounds good, you can hire me. You will never be in a contract. You are free to fire me, hire me as you please. You are free to go with somebody else. I'm free to also do the same thing. If you become a problem customer, then I'm free to walk away and you can also go with somebody else. But I never get in a bidding war. If they tell me, well, I got this guy, he came over, he mowed for $35, he sounds great. I would use him. I'm not going to come out and do you a favor. I'm not here for the exercise. I'm trying to run a business. So you don't want to get into a bidding war. You want to have a professional look. You you never let the customer tell you how much the yard is worth, and they will try it. I promise you. They will say, well, last year, I had a guy come out for 45. I know things are more now, so I'd be willing to spend 50. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, this is $100 yard. I'm going to be here for a long time. So just be aware, you set the price. If it's not a good deal for you, walk away, which leads us to our next point. What should you charge? How do you know how to bid properties? How much is the right price? There is no one answer. All you can do is figure out how much money you need to make per hour, not drive time, but the minute you pull into the property to the minute you finish blowing, collect payment, and head on. How much do you need to earn per hour? If you have $250,000 worth of trucks, mowers, trailers, a crew of 4, a warehouse that you're renting out, your hourly price is going to vary so much from a solo operator in Michigan who's out there running around with $1,000 worth of machinery. The $1,000 guy, he might could get by with $60 an hour. The crew of 4, they may need to make $350 an hour because they can do such a tremendous amount of work in such a short amount of time, but their overhead is tremendously high. It's going to vary greatly. That's going to be up to you to come up with a number. Figure out what you need. Just keep in mind, it's not just about time. It's about your gas getting there, the gas in the lawnmower, the gas in the weed eater and blower, the blades on the lawnmower, the tires on your truck, the tires on your trailer, the tires on your mower. It's all of that stuff. It's the marketing cost, it's the website cost, it's all of that stuff. So it's very important to come up with a good number. Then over time, you will get really good at learning how to look at a property and how to see, okay, I'm going to be mowing for probably 15 minutes. Then I'm going to have probably 20 minutes of weed eating because there's a lot of driveways. There's a flower bed out back. The kids have a trampoline area that I'm going to have to weed eat around. The area there is standing in water. I'm not going to be able to mow that. I'll have ruts. I'll have to weed eat that. So you have to figure it all up. Simple thing, if you get to a standard size yard, you think probably a 30-minute yard. Okay, your hourly is $100 an hour. That's a $50 yard. That's just a for instance. I'm not trying to say that $100 per hour is the right price, but it's pretty simple to calculate. Same thing goes with landscaping jobs. You'll have to figure, okay, customer wants me to add mulch. Customer wants me to plant some flowers. Every step of the way, you have to charge. If you have to go to the nursery to pick up flowers, charge them for it. You're not just going to, say, okay, the flowers are $3 a flower. I'm going to just charge them cost. I'm just going to charge them for labor. No, all the extra time driving there, waiting in line to pay, that's all time that comes out of your pocket. The customer has to pay for it. So it's up to you to figure out a good price. That's critical. All right, payments. I touched on it a little bit earlier. On contracts, I've never used them. I want people to feel free to come and go. I want my work to speak for itself, and I want my work to keep customers. I've had a good amount of my customers since the first year. I've had them for 12 years now. They've been loyal. We've built up a relationship. It's really more like a friendship. We goof around. We talk about political stuff, religious things. We're just basically friends. You will be at that point too if you are in this business for long enough. The customers are generally great. Maybe 1 in 100 or have a bit of problems, but the majority of them are great. As far as payments go, that's going to be up to you as to what you accept. If you just want to be a cash guy, you're going to have a rough time because no one really uses cash anymore. Of my customers, I've got maybe 4 or 5 that pay me in cash now. When I started out, it was well over half, but it's a cashless world now. So I also use PayPal, Venmo. Um, what you choose is going to be up to you. As I said earlier, I would make it so you have a DBA and people can write you a check because that comes in extremely handy for the larger jobs of landscaping. If it's going to be a $3,000 job for sod, most people are not super comfortable paying cash for that. They're not really sure on Venmo and Zelle and all the rest of that stuff. If they're older, especially, they don't really trust it. So they're going to write you a check. They can track it. They can cancel it later if there's a problem with the work. They can do, I don't know, they just feel like they have power over it. Checks are fine. So I would recommend getting a DBA really early so you can take checks. But it's up to you what you want to take. If you want to take Zelle, credit card, I've never offered credit card. You have to pay a fee. And to me, it's just another pain in the ass. I've given them like 4 or 5 options. If you can't figure out one of those that works for you, then you're probably not a customer that I even want, to be honest. Um, but it's up to you. You can accept Cash App, Bitcoin, sexual favors, all kinds of options. It's up to you. Um, the next thing that nobody talks about, and I just want to touch on it briefly, is what do you do when a customer calls you and you get a bad vibe about them? You really don't want to do the property. You're not really sure if your machinery is cut out for it. You just kind of don't want the job. It's totally all right to say no. You don't have to have a reason. you're the business owner. You can completely say no. When you're starting out, you're not going to be saying no very often. You're just going to be super excited to get a phone call and to have a new customer. I get that. But at this point, I turn down about 80% of my new calls because I can. I've got such a good amount of regulars. I'm not really looking to grow anymore. I've done this for a while. When the season starts, people move, you have people die, you have grandkids who take over. So I have a few spots that open up, but like I said, I'm not trying to become the biggest mower in Texas. I'm at a happy place. I'm fine with how much money I'm making. So I'm not looking to grow that much. I'm just looking to fill a few spots. I want the choicest customers possible. People who pay me on time, people who want the maximum service. I do fertilizer, I do flowers, I'll clean out beds, I do hedges. All of those are really where you make your real money at. Mowing is like it gets you in the front door. Mowing is like the handshake. It pays your it pays your car payment. It pays for your mortgage maybe, but the other stuff is what pays for your vacation and your Rolex, right? The hedges, all the stuff that I just listed. You can make so much money on that. So always be aware that you are at the end of it a salesman. You have to be the best in your business at selling. So you don't want to lie to customers and you want to deliver a great product every single time and be a reliable person, but you need to sell the product, upsell. Always be looking around. As soon as you get to a yard and you see, oh, there's a lot of weeds there, as soon as you give them that quote for mowing, your next comment should be, I notice you have a lot of weeds there. Would you be interested in me putting out a product that can wipe out the weeds and give you a nice, lush lawn? You'd be surprised. I would say almost everyone is at least interested. Now, they might not like the price, and you got to be honest with them, but they're going to be interested in getting rid of weeds. You can also get rid of fire ants if you have the license for it. You can trim trees. It's limitless, really. You can clean out gutters. You can turn yourself into a handyman. The more business you have, the more specialized that you can be. So when you're starting out, you may say, yeah, I'll paint a fence for you. Why not? Once you get going, though, and you've been in the business a while, you'll probably taper that off and you'll find where you really make your profit. Okay, I'm just going to be the mower guy. I'm going to be the fertilizer guy. I'm going to be the flower guy, and just offer like, 3 or 4 sets of services and kind of stick to that and make your money on that. But yeah, just don't feel like you have to say yes just because a customer asks. All right, I'm just going to go over just a couple of problems or questions that you may have. Feel free in the comment section. If there's something that I didn't go over, just ask it. I'll make a video on it or I'll just answer you in the comments. So one question that you might have is, how many yards should I be doing daily? And the question is, as many as possible. As many as possible. You should be getting up early. You should be coming in late. Your legs should be falling off. You should be out of gas. You should be exhausted. And the reason is because winter sucks. It's the absolute bane of landscaping and lawn guys. Don't let guys fool you, at least here in the South. Okay. We can do Christmas lights in the winter. We can do some landscaping stuff, maybe, but basically it sucks. And you're going to make the majority of your money, well, pretty much all of your money, spring through fall with, I would say from late April to August being where you really make your money. That's where everybody's wanting the extra services. They want you to come out weekly. So you should be working really hard. If you're not, then you should be selling. If you find that you're getting off at 3 p.m., you got time to kill, you're watching your favorite shows or videos on YouTube, you really need to work harder. You need to market better. You need to go out of your way, go knock on doors, go spread the word, hand out flyers, offer a deal on Facebook where people get their first mow half off or veterans get a discount. You have to be creative, but get out there and sell, because come winter, you're going to be broke and you're going to be wondering why anyone would be in this business while the rest of us are drinking beer and eating food. So just be aware. That kind of leads us to the next question is, what should I do in the winter? I mean, whatever it takes, basically. Like I said, Christmas lights are super common. That only lasts till the beginning of January. You'll be taking them down, and if you're afraid of heights, it's not for you. And you also need to live in kind of an upscale area. If you don't live in a nicer area, people aren't going to pay the money for Christmas lights. Um, I've done them. not a favorite of mine. I guess the goal is to make as much as you can during the peak season so you don't have to do it. So starting out, I took seasonal work for other jobs, or just get on Craigslist or Indeed or whatever, just find a warehouse job. Or I actually took some pretty creative jobs. I was like a pawnbroker one year. I was a graphic artist one year. Just, jobs that were interesting, that paid a little bit of money to get by, to help on bills and Christmas and stuff. Um, Hopefully you have a good season where the weather cooperates and you're able to have a savings, so you don't have to do any of those things. But winter is rough. So it's a good question, it's a good problem, or it's a bad problem to have, but it's one that we all have. And of course it's different if you're in the north. You can plow snow and melt ice, but we don't have that here. So it kind of answers itself if you're in a cold weather state, but for us here, it sucks. uh I guess that's about it. But if you guys have any questions or comments, please comment. I want to try to be as honest as possible, and I want to have a channel growing here. I plan on doing all sorts of videos where I'm at customers' properties, where I do recommendations on products, give you more tips to make some money, because that's what it's about. It's about growing your business and making money. So that's going to be it for this one. If you like it, consider following me or dropping thumbs up or whatever it is. So that's going to be it, guys. Appreciate it.